folks. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about finding the third note in the scale and using it as part of your solos. And this is real applicable, especially with your slow songs, some blues numbers. Today I'm going to use a backing track that I found online. It's nothing fancy, but it'll give you a general idea. If you can hone in on just a few notes when you're doing a solo and kind of keep those in mind and try to circle back around to those, then I think it makes your solos tasty. A lot of people tend to overplay, some don't play enough. The key to life is finding a balance, and I think that applies for the guitar as well. So I'm going to find the third note of the G major scale, the third note of the C major scale, and the third note of the D major scale. And I'm going to play those three notes, and here are those notes. You're going to see them throughout the video. 4th fret G string, 5th fret B string, 7th fret B string. So I'm going to really try to zero in on those in this example that I'm about to give right here for this slow blues number. All right, folks, so some people have asked me, like, when you're doing these turnarounds in these blues numbers, how did you use the relative minor to do that? And it was really kind of easy if you think about it. The relative minor of the key of D is B minor, so that scale, really right in this area. I did a lick using those same notes in that scale right there. And it does, again, consist of some double stops. I'm using some hybrid picking right there with the actual pick itself, as well as the finger to grasp those strings at the same time. And here it is once again. And then when you go to the C, I was using the relative minor of C, which is the A minor scale. Same thing. I was doing that same type lick. And then I resolved back into the 1 chord, which was the G major. Or in this instance, they were actually using a G7. Most blues songs do. So you can actually use your relative minor when you're actually doing blues. People sometimes don't think about that. They want to play major pentatonic scales and some other scales. But in my situation, I personally like using the relative minor as much as possible when you're doing that turnaround. Here it is one more time. And if you can syncopate it with the way the groove of the song's going with the drums, that's even better. Right there. So one more time, slow motion. Back into the 1 chord, the G. So makes sense to me, to my ears. I like the way it sounds, personally myself. So you can do that. And here's another example of that in the song. folks. I've had some people ask me about using your pinky finger in order to do a slide. And at times I do use my pinky finger, and here's the reason why. If I'm holding this big blocked off G chord that's a bar chord, and I'm looking to slide maybe from, this B string 6th fret up to the 8th fret right here, which would normally sound like this if it was fretted by itself. If I use my pinky finger to do that slide, I can actually incorporate that chord, and I can hold that chord as long as I can before actually moving to the slide itself. I don't have to take my fingers off of the guitar fretboard in order to make a transition like this right here. So instead of doing something like this, releasing the strings and then doing the slide, I can instead hold that chord as long as I possibly can and then do the slide. So to me, it makes sense. And you can do the same thing when it goes to the C and you're doing the C7. You can fret down here on the B string 3rd fret, and you can slide up to the 5th fret B string. And that's going to give you that 3rd in that C major scale, by the way. And then back to the G. All right, so that's using your pinky finger to do a slide. Maybe a little bit unorthodox for some people, but to me it makes sense if you can do it and when you can do it. Here's going to be examples of that in the song as well.